Hello and welcome to VSS Monitoring's monthly podcast. My name is Mark Ilerucci and I'm an account support engineer here with VSS. I'm also joined by Brent Green from the engineering side of the house. The agenda for today, we're going to start off with vStack Plus, a basic overview, followed by the topologies of how we can set up vStack Plus. We'll look at the configuration, integration management, optimal path forwarding. We're going to hop into load balancing and load spreading, followed by benefits. We'll round off the day with sample deployment scenario. The vStack Plus feature allows the user to direct copied traffic on any network input port to a monitor output port anywhere in the traffic capture system. It also allows for redundant peer-to-peer management. vStack Plus is highly flexible with its interconnection options, where the user can choose to have a single, multiple, or a mesh of links between taps. Aggregation and load balancing is automatic and transparent to the user. When stacking, up to 80 gigs of traffic can be directed between any two taps. The process is automatic, with vStack Plus being self-learning and self-configuring. If vStack Plus were to go down, the route is automatically recalculated and redistributed accordingly. The management interface for vStack Plus is easy and seamless to navigate. Now let's hand it off to Brett Green for a topology of vStack Plus.
So vStack Plus allows several different connection topologies. You can use a single link tap connection topology where you have a single VSS tap connected to another single VSS tap and simply configure any of the ports on that tap as a vStack Plus port on both taps. Once you've done that, they don't have to be the same ports. Once you've done that, you simply connect the two together and the tap will automatically detect that vStack Plus is enabled through that port. Same goes for multi-link tap connections. You can connect several, so for example, several 1 gig or several 10 gig ports directly between two VSS taps, and vStack Plus will detect you have several links between the two and will automatically detect that and be able to load balance those two to give you an aggregated bandwidth of those two ports combined. There's also complex mesh topologies, or basically any topology is possible with vStack Plus, as the taps will automatically detect all of the vStack Plus links in the network. So simply configure any of the ports on any VSS tap to vStack Plus mode, and you can connect multiple links between taps or multiple mesh topologies or any kind of topology you can think of. This gives you a great flexibility as far as what kind of topology you need for your monitoring system and does not limit you to a specific topology. You can see on the filter and monitor output settings page of this tap, vStack Plus has been enabled. There's several taps in the link, and your filter page automatically shows those remote monitor ports on the vStack Plus ports or across the vStack Plus links to those remote taps. And those remote monitor ports behave as if they were local to the box that you're filtering network input data on. So in the first case, for example, if you had several ports connected and load balancing enabled, you could have load balancing across all of those ports, including the vStack Plus ports. So in an example where you have 5 monitor output ports, and some of those being remote, you would get approximately 20% of the output to the local port and to each of the remote ports. And all of this load balancing and the vStack Plus data paths is all transparent to the user. You can see that the topologies are irrelevant, and however those taps are connected to each other, it will automatically detect those links and use the best possible path for each link. So there's some optimal path determinations that do take place in vStack Plus. Obviously, highest link speed takes a high priority, and the least number of hops also is considered. The optimal path selection is based on each port individually, so each port in the vStack Plus system will be calculated into that optimal path selection and forwarding. More than one optimal path, for example, if you're using parallel paths, it will use a load balancing or load spreading method in vStack Plus to maximize the throughput through those parallel paths. This gives you a possible output of up to 80 gigs of traffic between two VSS taps with the vStack Plus system. Load balancing in vStack Plus is flow-based. This means that you will not lose sessions across load balancing. The sessions between two end devices on your network, for example, will be maintained to a single monitor output. You can do load balancing of up to 8 ports, and you will get a fairly even distribution across those designated ports. It's not a utilization-based load balancing, but flow-based. And of course, this will adapt and vary from hop to hop. So each hop in the vStack Plus system has its own load balancing technique. Load spreading is determined based on map-to-map of static assignments in a parallel path. So load spreading takes over whenever load balancing is not used. It's likely less even than load balancing. And basically what happens is for each mapping in your filter output settings, a single port will be chosen for the vStack Plus link. So for example, if you had 2 links, then every other filter mapping would go to the same link. So every filter mapping that you have changes which output vStack Plus link will be used for that load spreading method. This is the default if no load balancing is selected or if the number of load balance ports exceeds a maximum of 8. So this effectively gives you the opportunity to have more than 8 vStack Plus ports linked, or if you have a need for that. One of the benefits of vStack Plus, which is extremely important, is the fact that it is platform independent. There's no proprietary software that needs to be loaded on any machine to configure vStack Plus or any VSS tap in general. You simply need a web browser, and you can browse to that management interface and configure vStack Plus directly from that web browser. Also, you have a distributed any-to-any peer-based management platform. You can manage any vStack Plus device from any vStack Plus device. So if you were to have a connectivity failure to a management port on a specific VSS tap for any reason, you would automatically be able to go to any other vStack Plus enabled tap in the system and manage all the rest of the devices in the network. And this is especially important if you consider that there's no single point of failure. You're able to create a topology in your network for vStack Plus that would prevent any single point of failure to prevent loss of monitoring visibility. Again, the system is auto-configured and has auto-discovery, so all configuration and vStack Plus port configuration is automatically discovered and self-configured in the tap and completely transparent to the user. Paths are optimally chosen. For example, if you have redundant paths, the optimal flow will be chosen between the VSS taps. vStack Plus allows complex and high bandwidth meshes. There's no stack port limit. vStack Plus also has no distance limitation. The only limitation on vStack Plus links are the same limitations of your physical layers. So if you're running copper or fiber, whatever those physical limitations are, those are what limit your vStack Plus links. There's no inherent distant limitation. And again, load balancing and load spreading make sure that your redundant links or parallel paths are optimally used. Here's an example solution with vStack Plus. You can see here in this example, you have many network inputs that are being monitored. You have redundant links between VSS taps for vStack Plus, and you have some high-level taps, 10 gig units at the very top of the screen, A, B, and C, that are actually sending out data to your monitoring devices. So what this is allowing you to do is monitor many, many networks in your network from a central location. And all the backhaul and distribution will be taken care of automatically in that vStack Plus topology. This also allows for minimal tap hops and latency with those parallel paths and tap grouping.
Thank you for joining us for another VSS Monthly podcast. For more information about our vStack Plus feature, please visit our website at www.vssmonitoring.com or give me a call at area code 650-697-8770. Ask to talk to Mark. Once again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month.